What if tomorrow morning you woke up and the headlines said, Iran strikes Israel? Israel responds. Oil prices explode. Markets crash. Your gas price doubles. Flights get canceled. Panic hits global markets. Sounds like a movie plot, right? But this is exactly the kind of chain reaction military planners quietly worry about. Every single time Iran and Israel trade threats. This isn't distant, boring foreign news. This is a potential spark for a much bigger Middle East war that could hit your wallet, your job, and your country's security. Even if you live thousands of miles away. You're watching TrendScope Global. And in this video, we're breaking down why Iran and Israel are locked in a dangerous rivalry, how their shadow war actually works, what could turn it into a full regional war, who else would be dragged in, and how it could impact the entire world. If you're tired of shallow headlines and want clear, simple explanations about what's really happening, take 1 second right now, hit the like button, subscribe to TrendScope Global, and share this video with one friend who needs to understand this. Quick disclaimer, this video is for information and analysis only. We are not supporting any government, army, or group. We do not promote hate or violence. Our goal is to explain, not to take sides. Let's start with a basic question. Why are Iran and Israel such bitter enemies? Israel is a majority Jewish state founded in 1948 in the Middle East. Iran is a majority Shia Muslim country. In 1979, Iran went through an Islamic revolution, bringing in a new regime with a strong anti-Israel and anti-Western ideology. Since then, Iran's government has refused to recognize Israel as a legitimate state. Its leaders often describe Israel as an occupying force, especially when it comes to the Palestinians. On the other side, Israel sees Iran as an existential threat, a country that might one day gain the capability to seriously damage or even destroy Israel, either directly or through allied groups. 3 main issues drive this rivalry. First, the Palestinian issue. Iran presents itself as a supporter of the Palestinian cause and backs groups that oppose Israel. Israel is in direct, long-running conflict with some of these groups. Second, ideology. Iran's leadership is built on a revolutionary Islamic ideology that rejects Western influence and Israel's existence. Israel defines itself as a Jewish state and is closely aligned with the United States and other Western powers. Third, regional power. Both countries want influence in the Middle East. Iran has built networks in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. Israel wants to prevent any hostile power from surrounding it or gaining the ability to strike it from multiple directions. Now, here's something important. Iran and Israel do not share a direct border. They are not facing each other with tanks on a front line. They fight mostly in the shadows. How does that work? Iran has spent years building what's often called an axis of allies in the region. Armed groups and political movements in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, some with large numbers of rockets, missiles, and drones. From Israel's perspective, these groups look like a ring of launch pads around it. Israel's response has been aggressive and high-tech. It has carried out many airstrikes in Syria to hit weapons shipments and Iranian-linked forces. It is widely believed to have conducted cyber operations and covert actions against Iran's nuclear and military programs. And it has developed layered missile defense systems, like Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow, to intercept rockets and ballistic missiles. So even when you don't see Iran versus Israel on the front page, they are constantly bumping into each other through proxy groups, drone attacks, cyber incidents, and airstrikes. This constant shadow war is risky, with so many weapons and so many actors involved. The chance of a sudden escalation is always there. So could this really start a bigger Middle East war? Let's look at a few realistic scenarios. Scenario 1. A major strike crosses a red line. Imagine Israel decides Iran's nuclear program has gone too far and launches a large surprise attack on key nuclear facilities or major military sites inside Iran. Iran's leadership might feel it must respond forcefully by firing missiles at Israeli cities, activating allied groups on multiple fronts, or targeting U.S. bases and regional infrastructure. Or imagine the reverse. Iran, or an allied group, launches a massive wave of missiles and drones at Israel that causes serious casualties or major damage. In either case, once that level of attack happens, political pressure to hit back hard becomes huge. Tit for tat can quickly turn into all-out conflict. Scenario 2. A deadly miscalculation. Wars don't always start with a formal decision. Sometimes they start with a mistake. A plane is misidentified as hostile. A missile goes off course and hits civilians. A local commander fires without proper orders. When soldiers or civilians are killed, public anger spikes. Leaders fear looking weak. Even if they don't want a large war, they feel forced to respond. And then the other side responds to that response. A small error can create a big war. Scenario 3. A proxy attack goes too far. Groups aligned with Iran in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, or Yemen have already carried out attacks against Israel, U.S. forces, and regional rivals. Most of the time, these are limited. But what if one day, a rocket barrage or drone strike kills a large number of civilians or soldiers, or hits a critical target like a major port or refinery? At some point, Israel or the United States could decide, we will not only hit the group, we will hit the country behind it. That would mean striking Iran directly, and that moves the conflict from the shadows into the open. If you've watched this far, you're clearly serious about understanding what's going on. Do me a quick favor. Hit like, subscribe to TrendScope Global, and share this video. It helps more people see clear, fact-based analysis instead of rumors. Now, if a bigger war did break out, who else could be pulled in? Lebanon. Armed groups there have a large rocket and missile arsenal. Northern Israel could face heavy fire, while Israeli airstrikes pound targets inside Lebanon. Syria. Iran has built a presence there, and Israel has already struck those positions many times. In a regional war, Syria could become a main front again. Gulf states like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar, they're worried about Iran's influence. Some quietly cooperate with Israel, and they host critical oil infrastructure and foreign bases. In a wider conflict, their oil fields, refineries, and ports could become targets. Iraq and Yemen. Iran-linked groups there have already shown they can hit distant targets with missiles and drones. In a larger war, they could attack bases, airports, tankers, and other strategic sites. And above all, the United States. If its troops or assets are hit, American involvement could escalate very quickly. Now, why should you care if you live far away? First, energy and the global economy. The Middle East holds key oil and gas producers, and crucial shipping routes like the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea, Suez Canal route. If war disrupts these choke points, oil and gas prices could jump fast. That means higher fuel prices, higher transport costs, and ultimately higher prices for almost everything. Markets could fall and jobs could be affected. Second, humanitarian crises and refugees. A large war could displace millions more people from Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and beyond. Neighboring countries would struggle, and regions like Europe could see new refugee waves. Third, terrorism and security. Big wars often create chaos that extremist groups exploit. Destroyed infrastructure, angry populations, and lots of weapons can lead to more radicalization and more security threats worldwide. With all this risk, why hasn't a major war already broken out? Several things are holding it back. First, fear of mutual destruction. Leaders in both Iran and Israel know that a full-scale war could be disastrous. Cities damaged, economies wrecked, governments potentially destabilized. That fear pushes them to fight in limited ways instead. Second, back-channel communication. Even enemies often communicate indirectly, through third countries or quiet channels. They send warnings and outline red lines. This can help stop crises from spinning out of control. Third, pressure from other powers. The US, Russia, China, and European countries all have big interests in the region. None of them wants a huge, unpredictable war, so they use diplomacy and pressure to keep things contained. So, could Iran versus Israel actually start a bigger Middle East war? The honest answer is, yes, it could, but it's not guaranteed. The region is like a room full of gasoline fumes. Armed groups, competing powers, deep grievances, and very little trust. Most days, nothing happens, but the wrong spark at the wrong time could make the explosion massive. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Iran-Israel conflict will stay a shadow war, fought through proxies and limited strikes? Or do you think it's only a matter of time before it explodes into a much bigger regional war? Tell me in the comments. I read as many as I can. If you learned something in this video, don't just click away. Take 2 seconds. Hit like so more people see this. Subscribe to TrendScope Global for more clear, no-nonsense breakdowns of global conflicts. And share this video with someone who keeps hearing World War III in the news, but doesn't really understand what's happening in the Middle East. Thanks for watching TrendScope Global. Stay informed, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next video.